This is Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. Coming to you from the fabulous Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome, I'm your host, Benjamin Burrows.
I am one voice that stands alone. I am one choice to man the throne. Stand guard and take shots, give it all I got. All I got is this microphone. I am
Reach for the sky, boy.
Hey, everybody, this is Billy Gunn.
Hi, this is Glasgow, Delaware Kit Kat.
Hey, it's me, the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
This is the Birdman Coco Beware.
Hey, this is Leo Rush.
In Macho Madness, yeah. Growing, and more seductive than sex.
To me, they are the greatest tag team in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks!
Hey, this is the NWA World's Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, the National Treasure, Nick Holden.
Woo! It's the Nature Boy. Woo!
Hi, I'm the Concrete Rose, Sunny Kiss.
This is Tito Santana, WWE Hall of Famer.
Hey, what's up? It's Tony Schiavone.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one of the founding fathers of All In, the Executive Vice President of All Elite, Cody!
And what you gonna do when Hulkamania and the largest arms in the world destroy you?
Well, let me tell you something, brother. Me and my 23-inch pythons never listen to Grunt to Groan with Benjamin Burrows.
There he is, the huckster. Never listening to Grunt to Groan, sales lessons learned from professional wrestling. With me, your host, Benjamin Burrows. And it is a great day to be out selling your services and selling your products because you are the great American thunder on which this nation rolls, because nothing happens until something is sold, until you sell it.
Well, I beat the drum and hold the phone. The sun came out today.
A little baseball music for you today as we get ready to play the World Series, the Houston Astros and the Washington Nationals. You know, as an OG sales professional, it's really hard to wrap my head around the fact that the Houston Astros are in the American League. For so many years, they were in the National League. Now they're in the American League. And it's just hard for me to wrap my head around just the whole concept of the Astros being in the American League. But isn't that what this whole crazy game of life is all about? It's all about change. And we're going to be talking about change on this podcast, our 48th episode of Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling. Before we jump into the whole change podcast that we have planned for you, I do want to thank Sonny Thunder and the Sons of Thunder for allowing us to bring the podcast to you each and every week from the fabulous Delaware Wrestling Thunderdome, where champions are made. Each and every week we get to bring this podcast to you from the middle of this blood-stained, sweat-stained ring, which is in the middle of this stinky gym metal building, but at least we have air conditioning. But Sonny, thank you very much. And you know, every week we come here, Sonny keeps threatening to put me in like a figure four face lock or give me a spine buster, or just praise the Lord that Dave the Ray, our producer, is here to stop him from doing that each and every week. So Sonny Thunder and the Sons of Thunder, thank you. Dave the Ray, our producer, thank you. You know, it was also brought to my attention that we have not introduced the rest of the staff here, the Grunt to Groan staff. So I'd like to do that on this episode 48. Only took me 48 episodes. Want to thank our researcher, Audie Jenkins. She's a former ring announcer and does a great job with our research on professional wrestling. I do most of the research on the sales part of this. Audie does it on the professional wrestling part. And our newest member to the staff, Mr. Gunnar Haskins, is here. He's kind of catch-all. He helps out with research, both Audie and myself, as well as some production stuff with Dave the Ray. I want to thank you, the Grunt to Groan staff. They bring us this podcast, allow me to bring it to you each and every week. I want to thank you for taking time to listen and download the podcast. We've got some great analytics. We are currently downloaded over 47,000 times a week. That's just amazing to me because when we started 48 episodes ago, we had one download. That was the Squeaky King down in Wilmington, North Carolina, and now we're up to 47,000. We're heard in 17 different countries. So I just can't thank the staff enough. I can't thank you enough. And if you've purchased the book, Grunt to Groan, you know I started the book right from the very get-go, thanking you for taking the time to buy the book, to read the book, and just to pay attention to something that I created. It's very humbling when people, read what you write or react to what you write or listen to what you put out there. So I'm very humbled by that, and I want to thank you so very much. If you want to communicate with us, you can do so at greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. That's greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. If you'd like to advertise on this fine podcast, you can do that as well at greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. On our last episode, it was all about leadership and my thoughts on leadership and the examples of leadership that I see from professional wrestling. And I want to thank everybody for commenting and reacting and the feedback that I received from that episode. It probably was the second highest rated episode that we've put out there where I got feedback, and I want to thank you for that. Now, some of the criticism that I received was that, Benjamin, you're pretty hard on the WWE, and the WWE has been the standard bearer of professional wrestling for so long that they are currently under fire because their programming and maybe even some of their ideas and things like that have stagnated quite a bit. And I don't say that out of disrespect to Vince McMahon or his staff, but I think that the ever-changing world of professional wrestling is forcing them to take a look at their product and to take a look at their programming and consider making a change. For example, Friday Night SmackDown, which is now aired on the Fox network in prime time on Friday nights, dropped 2.2 million viewers from its debut 3 weeks ago to its program this past Friday night. Now, that would be an indicator to me that something is not quite happening there. So the criticism that I received about being hard on the WWE does come with merit-based facts. You just don't drop 2.2 million viewers in 3 weeks. Now, I don't think this is a sinking ship for the WWE in any way, shape, or form. And Vince McMahon, a master business professional. He knows where the company is. He knows where it's got to go. And he signed with the Fox network, $1 billion deal with the Fox network. So he definitely knows what he's doing. So I'm not being critical. I just think that their game has to change if they're going to compete with the current changes happening in the world of professional wrestling. Now, with that said, we ended last episode talking about leadership. I expressed that for me, as a leader, I try to be a resource, number one, and above all of everything with the people that I lead. I want to be a resource. If my staff here that I lead looks to me as a resource, I believe I have completed my job. Whether that's a resource in their professional career, with their professional goals, or whether that's in life, I look to be a resource. And with that said, I want to give credit where credit is due. I do understand that Triple H and Shawn Michaels, who lead the WWE brand NXT, that they are great resources to the professional wrestlers that they are developing. Now, I don't know Triple H and I don't know Shawn Michaels, and I'm not a wrestling insider. I'm not one of the boys. You've heard me say that before. I would love to be. I'd love to be, man, down in the dirt and in the weeds, but I'm not. So I can only base my conclusions off of what I read and what I hear others say. And I've read and heard others say that Triple H and Shawn Michaels are incredible leaders with the NXT brand, so congratulations on that. And I've heard wrestlers refer to them as a great resource. So again, kudos and congratulations to Triple H and Shawn Michaels on being leaders that are a resource to their team. If you've got a comment on that, please email me at greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. Now let's jump into the podcast this week. It has to do with change, man. Change. I talk with sales professionals all across the country who sell a multitude of different products for a multitude of different companies across a multitude of different verticals. And there is one thing that I hear again and again and again and again and again from sales professionals, and that is the one and only consistent thing in professional sales is change. The only constant in professional sales is change. And that's true. In this ever-evolving industry and world of professional sales, change is inevitable. Our products are going to change. Our staff is going to change. Our companies are going to change. Heck, delivery schedules are going to change. And as sales professionals, our success or failure is driven by how do we adapt to that change? Are we looking at change through a negative perspective, or are we looking at change with a positive perspective? And that can be the difference between our success and our failure. Now, change challenges us. It is designed that way. I was at church yesterday, and Pastor Timothy Banks at the Life Center in Greenwood, Delaware, said that if you're not challenged in your relationships, you will not grow in your relationships. In other words, change is a challenge, and challenge makes us, forces us, and allows us to grow. Are you looking at change as an opportunity to grow? Now, in professional wrestling, like professional sales, right now, there's a lot of change happening. And I'm sure that as you drive to your next client, you're scratching your head, you're in traffic, you're drinking your coffee, and you're going, wait a minute. How can we equate professional wrestling with professional sales? And how can we equate the change in professional wrestling with the change in professional sales? Well, let me bring that to the two together for you. You see, in professional wrestling, the standard bearer for the last 10, 15, maybe even 20 years has been the WWE. Their programming, Monday Night Raw, Tuesday Night SmackDown, have been staples in the industry of professional wrestling. They are the competition. They are the standard bearer. They are what everyone strives to be. And they have sat as kings on the mountain for a long time. You may be in that same position as a sales professional. You've dominated the market. You've carved out a clientele base, holding a nice profit margin. And then all of a sudden, things start to change. A new competitor pops up. One who is branding themselves as an equal to you. Another competitor pops up. They may be an independent house, a small sales house with low overhead, so they can sell cheaper. Then an international threat might move in. Or maybe a digital threat, an Amazon and eBay. We face this as sales professionals each and every day. Well, professional wrestling's going through the same thing. So there are lessons to be learned here because the profession of wrestling is going through the same exact thing. And I'll give you the examples. The WWE, the Standard Bearer, the King of the Mountain. Then there's AEW, a new upstart, who is coming after the WWE in a traditional fashion and as an equal. Now, what I mean as in a traditional fashion, they're doing house shows. They've got a cable deal. They're doing a weekly cable program that's live. Something the WWE innovated. And they're presenting themselves as an equal to the King of the Mountain. And when you put AEW head-to-head with a WWE brand known as NXT, led by Triple H and Shawn Michaels, you find out that AEW almost doubles the audience each and every Wednesday night than NXT. So they are eroding the clientele base of the King of the Mountain. Then there's the NWA. This is a resurging brand. The NWA is probably the most iconic brand in all of professional wrestling, but they fell on hard times. They were purchased by Billy Corrigan. Now they're resurging, and they're using a digital platform to do this. AEW, WWE, they're on cable networks, broadcasted every week. NWA, though, has decided to take advantage of the digital platform, YouTube, and they bring their programming to YouTube viewers once a week, every Tuesday night at 6:05. So now the King of the Mountain has a traditional threat and a digital threat, just like we do as sales professionals. Ring of Honor is rebuilding its brand, and they've become more approachable than the King of the Mountain. They're more personable than the King of the Mountain. They're easy to get along with. They're easy to digest. They're easy to talk to. They look easy to work with. Then there's New Japan, an international threat. And then you have the independents who can put on a quality show at less cost than any of the above. New Japan, Ring of Honor, NWA, AEW, or the WWE. And if you don't believe that, check out Primal Conflict Wrestling, Tyler Steele's organization from up in West Virginia. He could easily be on television with that product once a week with lower overhead. So you see, professional wrestling and professional sales are not that far off in the changes that are occurring. In professional sales, you know, our world has been rocked and changed dramatically by the digital footprint of Amazon or eBay, or now Apple's jumping into the middle of it. Facebook Marketplace. Our clients can Google and research our product in 30 seconds. And then they can research and find our product on Amazon in 30 seconds or less, cheaper. So as you see, there's great changes happening in the profession of sales. Now, how do we, as sales professionals, compete with all of this changing? Well, in the book, Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling, I contend that there is one factor, that there is an X factor that the competition cannot duplicate or emulate. And that is you. You see, you're the force. You're the resource. You're the answer. You're the ear. You're the voice. You see, Amazon can't replace you. So when the client has a question about the product and they need an immediate answer or they need an immediate result, you are the X factor. And you need to position yourself to be successful as the X factor. You need to become maybe not the expert on every product that your client needs, but you need to be the resourceful expert that they turn to week after week after week after week after week. That's personal selling. And when you dig into the weeds of personal selling, again, outlined in my book, when you dig into the weeds of personal selling, you will find that you can position yourself not just as the resource to help them through the pain points, not just the resource that helps them find solutions to their problems, but you become the resource that becomes instrumental in their short-term growth, in their long-term growth plans, and in the goals that they, as the decision maker, want to achieve both professionally and personally. That's the sales professional that's going to get ahead today. That's the sales professional that is going to make the difference in winning sales or losing sales. Now, with that, I'm going to close this podcast, this episode of Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling. Just one more thought. This comes from marketing guru Rand Fishkin at Moz.com. He says it best: don't sell anything. Earn the awareness, respect, and trust of those who buy. Become that resource in this ever-changing sales world to your clients. We're going to close it. Thank you very much for taking the time to download Grunt to Groan, Sales Lessons Learned from Professional Wrestling. It has, again, been a pleasure, and it has been an honor. Don't forget, you can communicate with me at greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. That's greatamericanthunder@gmail.com. Connect with me on Facebook at Benjamin Burrows. Connect with me on LinkedIn at Benjamin Burrows. And follow me on Twitter at Great American Thunder at Real Ben Burrows. Again, you are the Great American Thunder on which this nation rolls, because nothing happens until something is sold, until you get out there and you sell it. Thank you. Have a great sales week, and we'll see you on episode 49.
I am one voice that stands alone. I am one choice to man the throne. Stand guard and take shots, give it all I got. All I got is this microphone.